What is up, everybody? This is Carl from Techful Goodies, and today we are looking at something that I think is pretty cool. This is the 4-bay NAS from UGREEN. A NAS is a network attached storage, and this is considered their most beginner-friendly NAS. Now, what is a NAS and why do you need it? So a NAS is considered a network attached storage. So basically imagine this as a fully sort of managed repo where you can plug it into your network and just now you have a large amount of storage ready to put all your files, back up everything that you want there. With the 4 bays here, you can have redundancy using some sort of RAID setup, which sort of mirrors the hard drives in case one fails, that you can recover them. Now, for the longest time, I had been using something like Google Drive to back up all my video files. And let's say you happen to be someone that has a lot of files. Maybe you're doing YouTube, maybe you're doing something else. Maybe you have a ton of pictures that you want to back up. Like I said, I had been using Google Drive for a while. But when I started looking into a full cloud storage solution, it was just so expensive, especially since they sort of charge you per gigabyte, per terabyte, per month, and it just can really build up, especially if you have a lot of files like I do with the video files, the audio files, the edited files, the final files, all that kind of stuff. It becomes a huge burden. So I started looking into NAS. And you know, from previous videos, I've done some DIY NAS stuff, which works fine. But when you're in the DIY zone, then you're dealing with fixing problems, fixing issues that show up, and just not having the best experience. And that's where something like this comes in. Again, this is the UGREEN NAS, and it has a fully managed application where all you have to do is slide in and out the drives, set up the app, and go from there. So we'll go over all that stuff. But first, I'm going to show you what comes in the box. Unbox this really quickly. They sent over the NAS, which was great, but they also sent some hard drives for me to test it out with. Now, these are 4 gigabyte hard drives, 4 of them. So that's 16 gigs. I mean, terabytes, sorry, 4 terabytes, 16 terabytes for storage. And so that's just a ton of storage. So you could have a huge backup storage if you want to. And this doesn't have to be just for home use. You know, if you have a small business, or you're an entrepreneur, have your own business, and you want to be able to store everything up securely, this would be a great option. So let's check out what's in the box here. Now, again, this is considered their beginner-friendly NAS, so I'm assuming this setup should be a breeze, but we'll go through it anyway. That way, you know, if you're not so familiar with setting this stuff up, you'll be able to sort of refer to this video and get everything going for yourself. So as expected, not much in the box except for the device itself. And so this is a fully self-contained unit. And the reason I say that is because it has the ability to run an operating system. It's going to be their UGREEN operating system that helps you organize, manage your photos, all your documents, easily name files, all that kind of stuff. So all you have to do is basically turn it on and it should be good to go. So we got the hard drives here, the main unit here, and the accessories. The accessories comes with the instruction manual, and it comes with Ethernet cable and screwdriver as well as a power adapter. So one thing to note about this device itself, I'm not sure if you're familiar with internet or network speeds, but most of my stuff in my house is a 1 gigabit connection, right? So our computers, my computer here, they're all pretty much a 1 gigabit connection, but this has a 2.5 gigabit connection. So you're getting 2,500 megabits per second on that transfer rate. I am able to get a higher transfer rate like on my phone or my iPad because it has a faster sort of Wi-Fi in it. So we'll be able to try that out, but it's good to know that it will work on your 10, 100, 1000, 2.2500, all those different speeds. It'll work for each one of those. So what I'll end up doing is I'll end up getting a 2.5 gig switch. That way the things that do have that amount of speed will be able to take advantage of it. All right, so everything's out of the box, everything's here. So taking a look at the NAS here from sort of the top-down view, you have 4 different bays, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So these basically have a little lock here, and you pop them and open them up, and you can just slide the hard drives in. These support a wide range of drive sizes from 4 2.5-inch drives or 3.5-inch drives. That's 3.5 is what this is right here. And it also supports 2 of M2 NVMe SSD drives. Now, that's a little bit more advanced. If you want to put that in, you can use that as sort of a cache drive. And what that does is it internally copies from the slower mechanical hard drive to the SSD drive and then sends it out. So it makes it a little bit faster to sort of get your files if you want to go that route. So again, like I said, on the front, it does have the power button, the 4 bays, looks like an SD card, a USB-C, and a USB 3.0 or 3.1, I can never tell when it's blue like that. And then on the back, you do have the 2 network adapters. Those are 2.5 gigabit adapters, 2 USB 1.0. That way you can plug in like a mouse and a keyboard, another USB 3.0, HDMI to be able to hook it up to a monitor so you can see what's going on, and then your power port. So with all that said, let's go ahead and get this set up, see what we can do with it. Copy some files to it and sort of check it out. You're familiar with megabytes, so this will do 1,250 megabytes per second. And that means you can download approximately 1 terabyte of files in about 20 minutes. That's a terabyte, not a gigabyte, terabyte. So you're looking at some pretty fast speeds, especially if you hook this up in your internal network and use it as your storage. You're good to go. Now, as far as these 3.5-inch hard drives go, this does not require a screwdriver. So if you get the smaller 2.5-inch drives, you'll have to use a screwdriver. But I don't need to do that with the 3.5 here. So I'll go ahead and plug those in. So take a look at this. The way this works is they give you this small little key right here, and you can kind of see, let's put this in the light, you can kind of see like a little keyhole there. So if I'm going to open these, I put this in and just turn it. And that basically allows you to lock each one of these drawers if you want to. You just put it in here, turn it, and they're locked. And then once they're unlocked, all you have to do is press this right here. And that unlocks the handle where you pull out each one of these bays. So I pull this out. And then if you look on the back here, there's a little button that says press. What you're going to want to do is press that down and pull this out, because what that allows you to do is install this without any sort of tools. So you're basically going to take one of the drives like this, set it in here, and there are little nubs on the side, which is a little bit difficult for me to show you, but you'll see as I pull it in, it kind of clicks into place, and then you can push this drawer in, locking it in, and now your hard drive is in there and ready to go into the bay. So in order to do that, you just basically put it back in the way you did it, lock this down, and you're good to go. So let me go ahead and do that to each one of these drives. Now what that's doing when I'm putting each one of these in, and it's aligning your connectors here perfectly with the connectors on the back of the motherboard. And when you slide it in, it automatically plugs in the SATA cable and the power cable, and you're good to go. Very easy so far. All right, so there we go. We have all 4 of them installed and ready to go. And it looks like if you're going to use a 2.5-inch drive, you can actually use the screws with that sort of self-loading bay in order to keep it in the right spot to have everything lined up. If you want to install your NVMe drive, you're going to look on the bottom here. There's 2 screws. When you pull that off, and I'm not going to do that here, but when you pull that off, you're able to basically unscrew the screw there and pop your NVMe drive in there. And that way you have that extra sort of cache drive or extra drive if you want. Alrighty, so I don't have a hardwired Ethernet in this room. It's actually going to go in the other room by my router for now until I get everything wired up in the house. I'm going to take this Ethernet cable that they provided, also the power bank, get it plugged in and set up and hooked to the LAN port on my router so I can access it with the app. Alrighty, so I've got that all hooked up in the other room, directly connected to my router. And I'm going to go ahead and download the UGREEN NAS app here on my iPad so we can look at setting it up. So the idea is that the NAS is considered a headless unit, where you don't need like a monitor, a mouse, and a keyboard in order to use it. You're just going to plug it into your network with Ethernet and then also plug it into power and hit the button on the front. Alrighty, so now I've gone and set up a new device registration. I'm going to, and because it's on my internal network already, I don't have to do anything. So I'm going to hit register. I have read all the agreements, of course. And I need to set up my administrator account. And so far as their sort of claim for being the most beginner-friendly NAS, this is so super easy. I mean, if you just need to plug in the hard drives, plug it up to your network, plug it in, and you should be good to go. And now it's loaded all the appropriate files to begin with, set everything up. It's rebooting, and I heard it beep out there, so it looks like it's doing something. All right, and it does recognize all the hard drives that are in there. And since it's recognized all of my hard drives, I'm gonna go ahead and set up a RAID 1 pool. I might change that later. They have different types of pools. Now, when it comes to a RAID or setting that up, I have 4 hard drives in there, okay? So I'm gonna take the first 2 hard drives and have those selected. And what the RAID 1 should do is basically allow you to have the full 4 terabytes of storage, but it uses the other one as a mirror. So basically you have 2 hard drives with the exact same information on it. So if one of them goes bad, you pop out the bad one, pop in a new good one, and it will then mirror and you don't lose anything. If you're just using something like their JBOD system, it says if one hard drive gets damaged, then that data on the hard drive will be permanently lost. Whereas RAID 1 says, even if the one hard drive gets damaged, the data on those hard drives will not be lost. Now, of course, if it's in a fire and everything burns down, there's no protection there, but this gives me the opportunity to go ahead and set up that RAID 1. Now, there's a bunch, RAID 5, 6, 10. You can go ahead and look those up, see which one works best for you. I'm just going to start with RAID 1 and hit next. Now, I don't want to put all 4 of them into that RAID 1 because that means I would have 3.6 terabytes available of 14.5. 3.6 is pretty much 4 the way hard drives calculate. So I don't want to do that. What I want to do is basically set up 2 sets of the RAIDs. Now, this is just my personal preference. I may change this later. So please do a little bit of research to make sure you understand specifically what will work for your situation. There's tons of good documentation online for that. And I'm just going to leave it at ext4. Just going to leave it all as default for now. All right, so it's going ahead and creating that right now. I'm not sure how long it'll take, but we'll jump forward here to when it's done. And since that looks like it's going to take a little while, I'm just going to sort of read you off a couple of the statistics or specifications here of the NAS so you can kind of understand how it works. There's multi-user sharing and multi-user login. So I have 3 people in my house, me and my 2 boys, and they both have computers. So what I'll do is I'll set up users for them so they can store their stuff securely away from other people and have secure access to that data. Now, on top of that, they also have professional data security. So it says they have 2 international authorized certifications. And the reason that you're looking for that is you've heard so many sort of data leaks when it comes to cloud drives or cloud storage. All this stuff, you hear about these data leaks. And with the NAS being on your internal network, it has built-in security to sort of secure that stuff. So if you want to keep your financial docs, your pictures, your photos, anything you want on there, then it has that extra layer of security so that people can't hack in and get your stuff. That's a big plus compared to having cloud storage, which you never know who might get access to that. You're hoping it never does, but you never know when it might happen. And along with that multi-user sharing, you can actually use remote access. So you can use the app to access your things from outside your network. In case you need to get to your pictures or your financial documents or something like that, you have that secure login through their secure protection to be able to get that information. And last but not least, it is a one-time purchase, right? So if you're going ahead and using like cloud service, cloud storage, or something like that, if you want 12 terabytes of storage, you're talking about hundreds of dollars per month just to store that stuff. This is a one-time purchase. Set it, forget it in your house, and you have storage going for as long as you want it. And when it comes to our precious files or anything we have that we want to make sure we back up, because you don't want to just keep that stuff on your hard drive in your computer, because if that hard drive goes down, everything's lost. You have to pay for like data restoration or something like that. So it's kind of just like a no-brainer to kind of set up that NAS and keep it locally in your house. Okay, so the way that this storage works on the NAS is that you're making a storage pool. And like I had said before, with the 2 hard drives in a RAID, you're making that storage pool. So when that's setting up, it's actually going to take a really long time to deep initialize those hard drives. So that's happening right now. While that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and go over the software and the different things you can do with this, because it's not just a NAS. It really is sort of a home media center, network center, storage center. So the cool thing about that is if you come in here and take a look, there is the app center. So when you come into the App Center, what you're going to see is all the different apps, just like your phone, that you can go ahead and install on the NAS itself. So it becomes like a media server. So for example, if you want to do the theater, you can install that, plug the HDMI from the back of the NAS into your TV, and now you have a full 4K media center that you can play any of your movies on that you have downloaded and want to show up on your TV, and that becomes sort of your theater 4K experience. You can also do virtual machines if you want to run something else specifically, like a virtual machine is basically a computer running on a computer, so you can do that. You have sync and backup. You have your photos for media and entertainment. I'm just going to go ahead and install that one. Online Office, all your music, Jellyfin, Home Assistant. So if you want to manage all of your smart devices in your house with Home Assistant, you can do that running specifically on this NAS. And cloud drives. So one of the things you're also able to do is if you wanted to, you can pick specific folders that are like uber important files that if you had a fire you wouldn't want to lose, you can sync that with the cloud for that extra backup. So that's pretty awesome. It allows you to install other apps and use it as a multifunctional device. On the dashboard here, you're going to see your system status is good, your hardware temperatures here on the right, and your resource usage on the bottom left. If you want to find your storage, you click on storage, and you can see right now mine is syncing. It's optimizing two at the same time. You can have external storage. So the one good thing is, like I said, that there's an SD card on the front. So if I'm filming my videos on an SD card, I can just go plug it in there and plop it right onto the NAS super fast. Or I can use like a flash drive or something like that. Back out to the sort of main area. If you click at the top here where it says DXP4800 Plus, that's the actual unit itself. You can reboot it, you can shut it down. It shows your running status, all your RAM usage. You can go into the control panel. And in here, you have all the different settings that you're going to want to use if you need to do some advanced setup, hardware and power, user management. So if I want to come in here and add another user for my son Daniel or my son Colton, I can do that. So all in all, the app is pretty powerful, and you don't have to just use the iPad or the iPhone for the app. You can actually connect to it on your computer. Just do a quick search. They've got a finder that you can use called https://find.ugnas.com. What that'll do is it'll run on your browser, show you any of the devices on your network. Then you can connect right to them and use it. Just like this app here, you can use it from your desktop. So if you want to copy files to it, you can do it that way, or you can connect to it through your local network connections. Okay, so once you go ahead and get all your storage set up, you can go ahead and install things like the Photos app. So I've gone ahead and installed the Photos app here. I just selectively picked some here of my family so that I could demonstrate, that it looks just like your normal storage setup. You can set up albums. So for example, I set up this album here and put all the photos in them. And then also you can set up people. So you have to go into the settings and enable the intelligent sort of face recognition. If you want to do that, you can, but it is a powerful feature. So if I go under people, I've already set up Daniel, Colton, and me. So I can click on Daniel and I can see all the photos that my son Daniel is in. And if I go back to Colton, you can see all the photos that he's in. So you can see this one here is one that he's in that my other son Daniel is not in. That was from a cruise that we were on. And here is both Daniel and Colton, and here's just Colton. So you can kind of start to see that it will classify and organize your photos in a way that are easy to find. You can also do things like OCR for text and documents to be able to do a universal search. So this Photos app is super duper powerful. Now, I in the past have used Google Photos to back all my stuff up to, but I haven't always liked the fact that, some of the things that are on there might not be completely secure. And I would feel a lot more comfortable if everything was backed up here locally to my drive. The other thing I wanted to kind of show you here, going back to the main menu, is I want to go ahead and show you uploading a file, okay? So if I go into my files, I've created a shared folder here. And so when you're in your shared folder, you can hit the plus button over here, new folder, upload file. But what I'm going to do is actually go into my photos. And in the photos, I have this one video here. This is about a 5 gig video. So I'm going to hit the share button, and I'm going to go down and I'm going to save to the UGREEN NAS. I'm going to locate my shared folder and hit confirm. Now, once it's uploading, you can jump back to the main menu, go under tasks, and see it uploading right now. So again, I don't have a hardwired Ethernet in this room, and my Wi-Fi is blocked by this cinder block wall. So while uploading to the NAS directly from my iPad here, I'm getting about 45 to 50 megabytes per second upload. And the whole upload took about less than a minute to upload. Now, compared to my Google Drive, if I took a 5 gig file like that, it ends up taking about 10 to 15 minutes. So it's a huge difference between about a 1 minute upload to your local NAS or trying to put it up to a cloud software where you're limited by the internet speed, however fast you're communicating to Google Drive. And like I said, it took about 15 minutes to upload that. So it's definitely a no-brainer. One of the things you need to consider is the fact that when you are copying over your local network, you are limited by the network speed that you're on. If it's 10 megabit per second, 100 megabit per second, 2.5 gigs, it all matters. And then also the speed of the hard drives. Those are mechanical hard drives that I put in the NAS, and those can tend to be a bit slower. So you're limited by the spinning speed of those drives. That's why sometimes you're going to want to be able to put like an SSD or an NVMe drive into there, because that's going to be a lot faster and it'll take advantage of your entire network speed to be able to transfer things to the drive itself. What you can do is transfer it straight to the SSD or the NVMe drive and then copy it to your long-term storage, which are the spinning hard drives. So anyway, I know this has been a long video. I really wanted to show this to you. I think it's very important to have everything backed up. You leave everything on your local hard drive, that thing goes down, you're done. Thanks to UGREEN for sending all this over for me to show to you. I'll have all the links down below for you to check it out if you're interested. Again, it doesn't matter what you do, but if you have a lot of things, you know, your own business, you're a YouTuber, you take photographs, you're a photographer, anything where you want to securely back up those files, this is something that definitely should be considered. If this helped you out, give me a like, give me a subscribe. I'd love to see you back. We do this stuff all the time. But until next time, this is Carl from Techful Goodies, and I'm out.